I've been a Christ follower for about 20 years, but God actually started drawing me 45 years ago when he placed me in a timber company. He knew that Rod Green, a longtime elder at Family Church, was going to be my boss. And Rod witnessed to me the whole time, and when it was just right, I accepted Christ as my Savior. But the impact I had of watching Rod and how he conducted himself, and I always thought it was Rod Green, but it was Christ in him. But once I became a Christian, I realized that my gifting and my calling was very similar to what I observed with Rod. And I've also been blessed by many godly men. When observing these godly men in my life, what I saw was what the church is calling a blessed rhythm. There wasn't a term for it before, but it's begin in prayer, listen, and over a meal, and then you find out how you can serve them, and then you share your message. And that's developing a relationship before you go to that point. And they won't come right out and say it, but when you really show love to men, they really get drawn to you. Since then, God has given me a passion to be used by him to reach many other very important men in my life. And talking with other men about things that matter, not superficial things like the weather, hunting, fishing. When you start talking about things that are really important in their life, men are drawn to that. I'd like to share just one story of the blessed rhythm in action that happened just a couple years ago. A young man from Thailand attended Family Church, and he put in a prayer request. And I'm on the care team, and we follow up with prayer requests. So I called him up. We prayed on the phone. We met at Abby's for breakfast. I listened to his story, found out what his needs were, and we ended up providing temporary housing for him. We helped him get his driver's license, a car. We participated in his baptism, and then he finally found his own rental and moved out. And so we were just following God's perfect plan for that young man. It was so rewarding for us as well as for him. And God has used me in many other venues that I've intentionally been involved in, including my work as well as Fellowship of Christian Loggers, the care team, calling folks and praying with them over their prayer requests the week following the time they put it in, visiting folks that are going through a rough time, inviting men to our weekly Bible study, as well as men's breakfast meeting that we have at Abby's every Tuesday morning. And I often get these initial breakfasts by offering free food. And sometimes that leads to another meeting because sometimes they say they owe me afterwards. But during those breakfast meetings, I pray about it beforehand. I listen to them. Listen is a huge part of it. Listen to their story. And if they don't know Christ, then eventually at the end after they realize I care for them, I share Christ with them. If they're already a believer, I encourage them in their walk. But the breakfast, we're there at 8 o'clock every Tuesday morning at Abby's, and there's about 12, 14 guys there. And at first, people would get together, a lot of them are retired. And so what we started to do about a year ago is everybody would bring their favorite verse. And so you go around and everybody would share a verse. That way everybody's involved, and it works great. It's whatever's speaking to you that week. And then everybody comments on it, and it doesn't put any pressure on one person to lead the discussion, really. So that's worked really well. And when God presents opportunities and prompts you to do something that oftentimes you can feel inadequate and oftentimes fearful, if you press through that, he is faithful to see you through.